Today's topic is two-step equations. Now, in our previous lesson, we talked about one-step equations, which was very simply only needing one step to get x by itself, or solve, or whatever letter we use, variable by itself. Now, in this step, now it takes two steps to get the letter by itself. Now, when we do two steps, we're not making it more complicated per se. It really is just adding an extra step to what we already know how to do. So it's not going to be harder, as some may think. It's just going to add an extra step, but we already know what we're doing because it's just, you can just think of it as several one steps. Okay, so don't let everything get you all jumbled up. Okay, just kind of take one step at a time. So let's start off with our first example. 2x plus 5 equals 15. Okay, now there are two steps involved to get x by itself. So here's our variable. Here's x. We need to get that by itself on this side of the equal sign. Now, once again, our 15 is over here. It's already chilling. Don't have to do anything with it. So we have to move our two numbers, our 2 and our 5. Now, when you ever see a problem like this, okay, the first thing you do is always move the number that is not attached to the letter. So our 2 is attached to our x, correct? But our 5 is not. So the first thing we move is our 5. Now, our 5 is positive. So to get rid of our positive, we have to do the opposite, remember? And we do minus 5 here, and minus 5 to this side of the equal sign, okay? Don't put it over here by the x. You can't do that. Put it to the other side of the equal sign, okay? Now, our 5 and negative 5 cancel out. Bring down your 2x. Bring down the whole thing. 2x equals, and then do the math. 15 minus 5 is 10. Now we have one more step, okay, and that's to get rid of this 2 here. Well, we know that it's when a letter is attached to a number like this, it wants us to multiply them. 2 times x, okay? Well, to get rid of the multiplication, you have to do the opposite, which is to divide. So we divide by our number on both sides. Our number is 2, so we divide by 2 here and 2 here. Our 2 cancels out. Bring down our x and do the math. 10 divided by 2 equals 5, and that's our final answer. Okay, now some people may have learned in the past where you draw a line on your equal sign and then you kind of go all the way down with it, and then you know what you have to get. You see how that kind of works. This helps some people. If it helps you, great, you can go ahead and do it. If not, if this is really throwing you off with this big line here, then don't do it. Okay, if you just know how to do it, working the steps out step by step, that's fine. Okay, now remember, when you do the work, you must show your work. Okay, I don't want to see you just doing this all in your head. I want to see the work shown. Let's try a different problem. X over 3 plus 4 equals 8. Okay, so now, still looks roughly the same, still two steps, okay? We still have our 3 here on the bottom of our x and our 4 here, okay? So the first one we have to do, obviously, is get rid of our 4. Okay, remember our 3 is attached to our x. Can't do anything with it yet. Move our 4 first. It's plus 4, so we must do the opposite, which is minus 4. Minus 4 there, minus 4 there. Our 4's cancel out. Bring down the x over 3, the whole thing. Do the math. 8 minus 4 equals 4. Now at this point, remember, we did this on our last video with the one-step equations. To get rid of this division here, x divided by 3 equals 4, we have to do the opposite of division and multiply. Multiply both sides by our number here, by our x, which is 3. So multiply both sides by 3. Okay, when you do that, our 3's cancel out, and we're left with x by itself equals 4 times 3, and that is 12. Next one. 4 parentheses x plus 5 equals 20. Okay, now, when you see a problem like this, with parentheses involved in the number out front, there's two ways we can do it. And I'll show you both ways, okay? And you can choose whichever one way makes sense to you or you think is easier or how you want to do it, okay? The first way you can do it is we can distribute. Okay, remember, distributive property, we need to take our number on the outside of the parentheses and multiply it by the terms on the inside, like that. So if we were to distribute this problem, we would have 4 times x, which gives us 4x, and then 4 4 times 5, what gives us 20. Now it's plus here, and it's 4 times 5 is positive, so it's plus 20 equals 20. Now we have what looks like our two-step equation here. So, first thing, we have our 4 here and our 20 here. Remember, the first thing we do is get rid of our number that's not attached to our x, which is 20. So it's plus 20, do the opposite. Minus 20 here, minus 20 here. Our 20's cancel out on that side. Bring down your 4x, and we're left with 4x equals 20 minus 20 is 0. Now, our last step is to divide by our number 4. Divide by 4. And that cancels out, and x equals 0 divided by 4 is simply 0. Okay, any number, 0 divided by any number is 0. Okay, now you can do this. That's fine. You can have that. It does equal 0. Now what you can't have, and I'll show you, is this. You can't have that. Okay, that does not exist. And I'll explain that all later when we go over slope. Okay, so that's the first way to do this. Okay, I'll show you the second way. Okay, the second way to do this, and I think is easier, is we have our 4 outside our parentheses. Now, when a number is outside the parentheses, what does that mean? Well, it means to multiply, right? So we can just go ahead. Good. So when our number is on by the parentheses, it wants us to multiply. Well, to get rid of it, because our parentheses are enclosed, our 4 is hanging out here by itself. So if it wants us to multiply, we can just get rid of it right now by doing the opposite of multiply, which is to divide. So when you see a number when you see a problem like this, and your number is outside the parentheses, you can go ahead and divide the whole thing by our outside number, which is 4. And you can do that to the other side. Divide this side by 4. Now when you do that, your numbers on here cancel out. And now you bring down what's left in the parentheses. That whole thing just comes down here. And then do the math. 20 divided by 4 is 5. Now we have a simple problem here. A one-step equation, x plus 5 equals 5. Well, get rid of our 5. It's plus 5. Do the opposite. Minus 5, minus 5. Bring down our x, and x equals 0. Okay? So whatever way you want to do that problem, you can go ahead and do it. If you want to divide the outside number first by both sides, that's fine. If you want to distribute it in first, that's fine as well. It's up to you. You get the same answer. Okay, whatever one works for you is good for me. Let's do one more problem. X minus 2 over 2 equals 10. Okay? Now, this is easier than it looks. Don't panic, okay? So, top part of our division here is x minus 2. Our bottom part is 2. Okay? So when we see a problem like this, the first thing we have to do is get rid of this bottom number. Okay? Get rid of this 2 on the bottom, or whatever number is there. So, to get rid of our bottom number, remember, from previous lessons, we must do the opposite of divide, which is to multiply by 2, the whole thing. Okay? Now, when you do this, you're not multiplying this by all this, right? It's just, you're simply multiplying by that bottom number to get it out of the way, so it cancels out. Okay? When you do that, you can bring down the whole top, x minus 2, just bring it all down. And then do the math. 10 times 2 is 20. And then, as you saw from the previous problem, we can just get rid of our number here. It's minus 2. To get rid of it, we do the opposite. Plus 2 here, plus 2 here. That cancels. Bring down our x, and 20 plus 2 is 22. Okay, so problems like this, multiply by the bottom number to both sides, bring down the top part, and then just either add or subtract to the other side, and you have your answer.